Alright, what's going on everyone? My name is Deontay, but you can call me Emperor. As you can see, we have a basic gameplay guide for Gallanza today. Gallanza is an extremely straightforward character to play in this game. Not only that, but I will also consider him to be an all-around option, as he's pretty good at damage, stun, and even survivability. What I'll be going over is the current loadout I have on him, then I'll go over his basic gameplay on the practice dummy. Then we'll go over the skills and what I recommend using. Afterwards, I'll go over my recommended sigils along with my build being used on the practice dummy again. Finally, we will put him to the test on Chaos++ of Sigils. So let's go ahead and get this started. And here's my current loadout right here. And then we'll go ahead and get into his traits right here. And this is my current master traits on him. And I am currently in Crux. And then you have my current overmastery on him. As I said before in the intro, Gallanza is very straightforward. However, just like Magliel that I've done a guide on in my previous video, he also has a gauge he has to fill up. The gauge in question being the Silverwolf gauge. And to build up is pretty simple. All you gotta do is attack and do combo finishers. But before I go over that, I'll just go ahead and show you guys his light strings. And then you see that it's already built up a bit. But if you were to do his power strikes, and you'll see with the heavy attack button, it's called turbine right now, but when I do one light attack, it becomes a power strike. And if I do that power strike, it'll become a combo finisher. So I'll go ahead and show you guys right quick. And you see that build up the gauge significantly more than just doing a regular light string. After you're done building up his gauge, he will be put in a state called Deathmatch Finale. All it'll do is enhance all of his attacks, essentially. For now, I'll show you guys what turbine looks like, and all you gotta do is just hold down your heavy attack button. And you see, doing this builds it up as well. However, if you hold it for too long, you fall over like this. Now, let's go ahead and go into his deathmatch form. And as you can see, he becomes a lot more enhanced. For starters, his light attacks are a lot more different. He literally flips. Not only that, but there's a perfect timing on that string. And for that timing, just think of it as pressing the light attack button as soon as you land back down. But as you can see, simply doing those light attacks did take away a good portion of the gauge. Without being in certain parts of his master traits, he will lose the gauge pretty fast when you're doing attacks while in it. Now that we're back in Deathmatch Finale, I'll go ahead and show you guys that when you do turbine, it will go up an additional stage, because as you saw before, my regular state, it only goes up to +1, but it goes to +2 in his Deathmatch Finale. But the same thing, if you hold down for too long, you will fall over, like so. So, to avoid that, all you have to do is let go before it actually makes you fall over. You will see that Gallanza will blink once he gets to stage 2. So this next blink right here, I'll let go. That's pretty much the basics down for him. So I'll go ahead and go into his skills. For our first skill, Tip of the Spear. This is a buff skill that allows him to give himself hostility and defense up. For our next skill, we have Explosive Plunge, which is a damage skill. This allows you to leap up into the air and slam your spear down. It doesn't say in the description, but this is pretty good for stun damage as well. Now for our next skill, Impale, which is a damage skill. This allows him to use range attacks for his spear. and he can fire it 3 times in a row. I tend to use this a lot as the cooldown is not as heavy as most of his skills. For his next skill, Martial Spear, which is a damage skill. This is also a range skill, but the difference is this one allows you to prolong it by simply holding down the button. For our next skill, Eye of the Storm. This is another damage skill, and this allows him to do a small combo string with his spear. Not only that, but those swings in particular, as it says in the description, allows him to block. Now, for our next skill, Dashing Lancer, this allows him to lunge his spear towards the enemy. Not only that, but it does a fair amount of hits on contact. We have another skill right here, Cyclone Skull Splitter. This is a damage skill that allows him to swing around his spear a lot. Not only that, but it pulls in enemies within that range of it. And to make this skill even better, he's also allowed to debuff the enemy with defense down by 10%. Now for his last skill, Deathmatch Finale, which is a buff skill. This is essentially a skill that just allows him to get his gauge fully maxed out to go in Deathmatch Finale. But not only that, 2 things. It grants him an attack boost by 30%, and it stops the gauge from going down for a certain amount of time. I haven't actually counted it so far, but it does last a pretty long time before it actually starts depleting. Now, I am currently slotted into Crux on my master traits, so I'm using Impale, Martial Spear, Eye of the Storm, and Deathmatch Finale. So 3 damage skills and 1 buff. Going over his sigils, I will go ahead and say that I actually recommend putting defensive based things on Gallanza, as it'll just be better for him overall for quality of life. And I also use Warpath on him, which allows him to get a damage boost while in Deathmatch Finale. And I'm sure most people will probably reach this number anyways, but do try to get your stun up on Gallanza, as it is pretty useful to have on him anyways. Now, most of these are personal preference, especially things like Nimble Onslaught. You don't really need to dodge on a character like this. I just do. Alright, and for my damage test, all I really do is start off with the Deathmatch Finale skill to instantly get up the gauge, and then I swap around my skills. Afterwards, I tend to build back. Afterwards, I usually tend to... But enough talk. I'll just go ahead and show you guys instead.
Playtime over. Second me. I'm going to feel the sting. Get out of here. Eye of the storm. Nope, right where it hurts. Second there, feel the stun, boya. Boom! Get out of here! You magical monster! An opening! Second this! Feel the second this! Gotcha!
And as you can see, especially that I'm in Crux, it is very, very simple to play in.
Feel the sting! Done it! Bon voyage! Behold! Fangs of the silver wool! Got him! Storming death!
And there you have it. I believe all that's left is to test him out on Lucilius. So let's go ahead and get to that, shall we?
How brazenly rush to your deaths.
Paradise lost!
I tore open the rift, only to be met by the same tiresome faces as always.
Then crawl back to your prison, and you'll never see us again. These skies never welcomed you to begin with.
I care not for the sky's approval. I have come to put an end to it all.
My thoughts exactly.
Lucilius! Feel the sting! Along with these skies!
Your resilience has improved. But how will you fare against pure destruction?
He plans to settle the score right here. We have to put a stop to it. Hit him with everything you've got!
An utterly futile resistance. The depths of your delusion are almost laughable.
Bon voyage! Ready to die?
Your end is nigh. Why continue struggling in vain?
Play it safe.
Get out of here! That's the scum! Gotcha! Sickle me! Bon voyage!
I grow weary of this futile exchange. Lucifer, serve your purpose.
Kill you!
This power is mine to command, and with it, I bestow the grand finale.
All this! Dance more! Gotcha! No! Sickle me! Envoy feel the sting! Gotcha!
All is still within their reach.
Need a death's door! Let's move out! Glory awaits us! Be gone! Envoy! Second envoy!
No, get back to the middle. Or not. I didn't know he was that low.
All creation bows to me. Wretches. Miserable, useless wretches. Ultima Rebellion. Much obliged.
Oh, poor Beatrix.
As you wish. Beatrix, let's make this count!
Let's crush him!
God destined to fade into oblivion. Repulsive.
Go for one arc! Farewell.
Is that all the resistance you can muster?
Feel the sting! Great choice!
Ouch.
Martial speed's over!
Fools.
There you have it. But yeah, not a bad run. And that shall be the end of today's video. I believe that the only DLC character I have left to make a guide on is none other than Fadio the Black. I saved her for last only because very well aware that roughly 70% of the newer players in the Endless Ragnarok expansion are well acquainted with her easy to obtain damage numbers. Besides that, I'll start with the remaining characters on the roster I haven't made a guide on yet, and then I'll eventually move towards build guides. Anyways, I'll see you all in the Fadio video, and thank you for your time.